Greetings from Brown University. Today we have a rare opportunity to interview a Brown graduate student in physics. Top university not only in the United States but also in the world, because it's an Ivy League, right? There are 7 Ivy League in the United States, and this is one of the Ivy Leagues. And what are the 7? It starts with Harvard, Princeton, you have Yale, you have Pennsylvania, Columbia, Cornell, Dartmouth, you have Brown, and what else I forgot?
Those are the 7.
Those are the 7. And Brown is the Ivy League, is top research university in the world, and millions of students try to get into Brown. Only few able to do that. Importance of foundation. Tell us something about your foundation. Tell us, start the story from the beginning, from PS 86, your primary school. Take us to the Browns.
So I received a wonderful elementary school education from PS 86, where I attended grades 1 to 6. And I had 2 very good teachers at PS 86.
PS 86 is very close to Limon College.
That's right. Yeah. And 2 specialized high schools as well, including Brown Science. All of my teachers at PS 86 were wonderful, but 2 of them stand out to this day, Ms. Gittleman and Ms. Pran.
Ms. Gittleman was your second grade.
First grade teacher.
And I remember that you used to, when you finished the class, me and your mom would be going there to pick you up, and you would be like, so much excitement.
So she really made me feel included in the classroom. She helped me participate, engage, and motivated me to stay active in the classroom. So she was a wonderful first teacher. And then in 5th grade, I had Miss Poranik, and she really improved my public speaking skills. She gave me a lot of opportunities to speak on stage, on the debate stage.
She went to Columbia.
She went to Columbia. Bernard.
Columbia Bernard.
That's right. That's right. And she really helped me improve my oratory skills and speaking to the public. So that's I owe that to her. Yeah.
What was the most memorable experience you had at PS 86?
I had many wonderful experiences at PS 86. Maybe one experience that stands out is that I created a website just like Khan Academy, precursor to Barry Science Lab.
Oh yeah, it's a
Leaf Tree. I don't know. I thought I would overtake Sal Khan. Maybe I don't know what my.
Okay. No, it's always good to have a big dream.
That's right.
If your dream is to touch the sky, you probably don't touch the sky, but you ended up at Brown.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. And so I asked the school coordinator if I could give a speech to all the students during the lunchtime in the auditorium, and I got Miss Paranik's thumbs up. I got the school coordinator's thumbs up.
So you started knocking the door.
That's right. And
not everyone opened the door, but some did.
That's right. That's right. And so I gave a little speech about Leaf Tree. Okay. To the school.
Excellent. What was the most experience you had? Share one experience you had with your mom.
Well, I have many wonderful experiences with mom. Picking me up, dropping me off at PS 86, and she would work so hard to make sure I was ready for school. And
not even a day of babysitting.
No, not
even a day of babysitting.
No,
it's all his mom took care of him.
That's right.
Yeah,
and
so
of course,
not even a day of babysitting.
And Dad, you always took me to the classes, Michio Kaku's classes, Dr. Kabat's classes, the computer science professor's classes, and all of that really.
So
really built me
those are not the best days of our life, because I had no job. I lost my security job, and then I got the security job. I was working as a security guard. Night shift at City College.
That's right.
And taking you to the City College during the daytime to Michigan class. Yeah. What year you graduated from PS 86?
2015.
2015, you completed your 6th grade from PS 86.
That's right.
And you moved to
MS 118.
MS 118. Tell us something about MS 118.
Well, I attended 7th and 8th grade middle school in MS 118, and I had some wonderful teachers.
It's also in the Bronx, right?
Also in the Bronx, that's right. And actually, fun fact, MS 118 has the most number of specialized high school acceptances in the Bronx.
That's right. And your mom, I just started the charter school, right?
Right.
And then I used to take you a few days, and then your mom started taking you.
Yeah, that's right.
And then what happened? You started going alone.
Yeah.
For the first time.
I went alone to MS 118.
Because it was, what year was it?
2017,
No,
2016.
2016, I believe.
Yeah.
So Isaac was 4 years old. So
Okay.
mom would be taking Isaac to the
Yeah.
Bronx College, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
And mom spent a lot of days. First, she would drop off Shivo at Bronx College. Then
College.
she would have to go to her classes. Then she would have to drop me off.
Yes,
And then she would have to pick me
pick
up
me
and
up,
then
yeah.
pick up Sigourney.
And again,
So it was
0 days of
yeah. Babysitting or
yes,
child.
yeah, for you. So you guys, you are so lucky that
Absolutely.
that 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 really was
That really paved the way for us
paved
to
the way for you to focus on education. Okay, tell us your most important experience at MS 118.
I had a lot of great experiences at MS 118. I had 3 very good teachers, one in English, one in science, one in math. So for English, I had Mr. Torres.
You always talk about Mr. Torres.
He's
at NYU right now,
He's
probably?
now at NYU.
Okay.
And I had Miss Robertson for math.
Right.
And I had Mr. Aki for biology.
And you took the reasons biology in 8th grade at MS 118 because of that exposure.
That's right, yeah. And biology was never my favorite subject.
Biology was never been your
never
cup of
has
tea.
been. No, but Mr. Aki made it something like next level. Like he motivated me to try to impress him.
Did you ever give a thought to move to that direction?
No, never. My goal was just to impress him, and beyond that, I had no motivation.
Okay, so your goal was always to what? To do what?
Just earn a passing score on the biology regions.
Your goal was to pursue. Now you are studying, of course, graduate studies in physics.
Yeah.
But when really?
Yeah. Well, first of all, there was always the seed. The seed started when you started taking me to Professor Michio Kaku's classes. Now, did I know that I wanted to pursue physics at that moment? No, but it was a lot of.
What year was it?
That was 2011. 2011, yeah.
2011, and you were very little.
Exactly 1 decade before I started City College.
So you were 8-year-old.
I started City College 2021.
Yes.
10 years before that, 2011. That's when you started taking.
Okay, so you were 8-year-old, and you were in
second grade.
Yeah, you were in the middle of the world's most famous physicists.
That's right. And how can that not inspire? That it doesn't matter if you're interested in biology, chemistry, even history. If you're in the presence of someone like Michio Kaku, you have to get inspired.
Young Michio
you have
Kaku.
no choice but to get
Kaku,
inspired.
yeah.
It's like meeting, Einstein. Meeting someone like Einstein who's still alive today.
Right.
So that was the seed of where it started. And then, but in high school, so of course I talked about middle school. I had those 3 great
So
teachers.
the middle school, you never gave a thought to move to the biology direction.
No, absolutely not.
Although you did well because of it, you had a good teacher.
Right.
So good teacher can make a difference, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And did you give? You did not. You totally missed that. As you have not always wanted to go to physics direction. Okay. Although this is a good learning opportunity for parents. Mm-hmm. I always, because I'm a physics teacher, and his high school is coming up, so he would be talking about it. So every day I would be asking him to pursue his career in physics, but he would always wanted to do it in math. So tell me when really you found your passion for math, when you fall in love with math.
Well, I was not good in math. So for example, I took the EMC 10 qualifying exam.
Right.
First I took the EMC 8.
Right.
First I took EMC 8 in MS 118, and
right.
I thought I would do great because I was always the best in math at MS 118. But it turned out on the EMC 8.
Did you also take the SAT before that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Because you encouraged me to take the SAT when I was in 5th grade.
5th grade,
That's right.
I believe, and you got a very good score in SAT math, right?
Yeah, I got 500 out of 800.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
Okay.
And then you started AMC.
Well, so in 8th grade, I found out about something called AMC. I don't know where I found out about it. Maybe I read it in a book, but I found out about something called the International Math Olympiad.
Right. And you went crazy.
And yeah, I thought that I would be the first ever, kid from the Bronx or to represent the United States at the IMO.
Absolutely. And
So
he went crazy for mathematics.
that's right. Before that, I was okay at math, but I didn't have any intention to pursue it. But after I found out about the IMO, I thought this is my goal.
So the ambition, the goal, or whatever law came from ambition,
Yeah.
to
represent the US at the IMO.
Yeah, in the IMO. Okay, so that didn't happen.
Spoiler alert, it never happened.
That didn't happen, and you love for math fade away.
So, but that didn't happen, but it forced me to really develop my math skills in a way that I otherwise wouldn't have had. And that really put me at an edge for physics, because physics is 99% math and 1% experiment.
Okay, let's see. We'll try to discover how he made the transition from math to physics, and when did it actually happen, and if he even remembers it. So we are still MS 118.
Yeah.
We are still in the Bronx, and you took that test.
Yeah.
To get into specialized high school.
That's right.
And tell me what happened.
So I didn't have big expectations, but it turned out I got into Brooklyn Tech, which is
I was teaching.
No small coincidence.
And it was not planned.
Yeah. No.
It was not planned. He did not even put Brooklyn Tech as his past priority.
Yeah.
Because his past priority was brown science.
That's
Why?
right.
Because if he got into brown science, it would be walking distance from our house.
That's right. Yeah. So it was like a miracle or a fate or a blessing that I got into Brooklyn Tech. And so for the next 4 years...
And then what we discovered, he was in my class, in the physics class.
That's right.
And of course, I had to reveal it.
Not only the same school, but the same class.
Same classroom. And I had to tell the principal that, hey, look, you put my son in the class.
That's right.
And then few days later, I found out that they said, well, your son cannot be in your class because of conflict of interest.
That's right. I don't know what conflict of interest there is. But
and they moved you to Mr.
McCollum.
Mr. McCollum class. Mr. McCollum is no longer with us. He was a great teacher.
Yeah.
You remember he wrote a recommendation
a wonderful
letter
recommendation for me. Yeah.
So rest in peace, Mr. McCollum.
Rest in peace, yeah.
Mr. McCollum was your physics teacher.
That's
you
right.
studied Brooklyn
for
Tech.
Regents Physics.
For Regents Physics, and you studied Brooklyn Tech.
That's right.
And majoring in math, not physics.
That's right. Because at that time, after I found out about the International Math Olympiad, my goal was very simple, to represent the US at the IMO.
Yes.
That's right. So I was not good at physics, and I didn't think about pursuing physics. And it turned out I was not good at math, but I wanted to pursue math so that I could represent the US at the IMO. So I took the AMC 8. I didn't do very good at it, but I thought maybe that's just a first attempt.
You did really well.
No, I got 43 out of 120, which is a failing score. And then I thought maybe that's just a fluke. So when I entered Brooklyn Tech, I thought I would take the AMC 10 this time. So I took the AMC 10, and lo and behold, I got actually below average in the class. So the class average was 45, and I got 42. So then I still remember the most powerful emotion is shame. And really? I remember when the Mr. Matthews,
Mr. Matthews, the Matthews. That's right. I still have a good connection.
That's right. He nominated me for a Westinghouse scholarship.
He did.
He was the one who nominated me because he saw potential in me, even though I wasn't doing very well. So anyway, he gave me a little piece of paper that showed my score was 42. And I remember the first thing I did was I crumpled up the paper and I put it in the trash can before anyone could see it.
Right.
So, but that emotion of shame, for the first time in my life, I was below average. And so I thought I'm gonna do anything it takes to become the best.
And you did. You did.
And
you didn't sleep. You didn't. You just continue solving every single problem you find. You ordered the book.
That's right.
And you watched the video online.
That's right. Yeah. And so that summer, the summer of 10th grade, I think, I decided that I would not touch any computer, any laptop, any device with an internet connection that could distract me. and I spent that entire summer working to the Art of Problem Solving Volume 1
Right.
book.
Yes.
And then when 11th grade
We still have
came,
those books at home.
we still have those books.
And we passed those books to his
To Subarna.
siblings. Subarna.
That's right. So when 11th grade came, I was suddenly the best.
Yeah, and he almost made it. He almost made it.
That's
at
right.
Brooklyn Tech.
That's right. So
Was it Scott? What's his name? Who made it and
no,
barely
I
missed
don't.
it?
So when I took the AMC 10 in 11th grade or AMC 12, now I don't remember. I got 83,
83.
And the qualifying score for the AME was 85.
Right.
So I was 2 points short. 2 points short. That means
short.
if I got
So
one more
close.
question correct.
So close.
That's right.
Yes.
So I don't remember the guy who qualified. He was Stanley Stanley also didn't qualify.
Oh, he did not qualify. He got so close.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was 2 points short.
Oh, the guy who qualified went to the different school. He was my
Brown
student.
Science.
He went to
Khizr Shahi. Khizr Shahi.
Khizr,
Yeah, and he
Khizr.
did well on the AME also.
Amy also, and
Yeah.
he is now at MIT.
MIT, yeah.
Not far from Brown.
Not far. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the story of the International Math Olympiad and why I was pursuing math at that
Yeah.
time.
So one thing you can learn from this experience, right? If you go crazy for math, it gives you a foundation to do well in other subject as well. And you don't have to win.
No.
You don't have to all the win. Sometimes losing is winning. How the losing is kind of winning for you in this AMC ambition that you had.
Right. So preparing for the AMC, even though I never made it to the next stage of the IMO, gave me a lot of technique skills that I could use in physics. So I remember one day in Physics 1 at City College, I was in class and the professor, he did a very quick kind of math trick. And the whole class...
Where? City College?
At City College.
All right.
And the whole class was confused. How did he go from step 1 to 2?
Sure.
And I thought it's obvious. He just did a variable substitution just like I did on the AMC. But everyone was confused. And so the next 10 minutes of the class was spent on him explaining what he did in his head, but that I already knew because of my preparation for the AMC.
All right. So you finished Brooklyn Tech with math as a major, right?
With a math major. Yeah.
Still not knowing that whether you're gonna go for physics or math.
So in my senior year of Brooklyn Tech, it was the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yes, absolutely. And he had 2 years
that's right.
in person and 2 years online. So during the online, something happened. Tell us that. So 2017, he started good. He went to the Brooklyn Tech in person with me every day, and 2018, good in person every day. But end of 2019, it happened. 2020, it had to happen.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
I remember March 8, 2020.
That's right. Yeah. So in the beginning of the pandemic, I became very interested in writing. I even wrote a book, 55 Days in Dharavi. And I published the book, and I tried to submit a lot of articles to newspapers. One article got published. Before
the pandemic, we went to India.
That's right.
And he spent lots of time.
Dharavi,
Mumbai, the world biggest slum.
That's right.
And he wrote a book.
That's right.
55 Days in Dharavi.
So at that time, I was very interested in writing.
I see.
And in fact, I even created a newspaper called The Thinker.
The Thinker, right? Absolutely.
So for some reason, I was.
We did everything to engage us, to keep us busy, and not go crazy during the pandemic.
Absolutely. And so that time, I was interested in writing it for some reason. And then the pandemic started to wind off, but teachers had to go to school. We moved to Long Island. And
so you moved to Long Island, but you didn't have to go to school.
That's right. Teachers had to go to school.
Yes.
And for the first time, I was more or less alone at home. Mom was busy with courses, I think. Subarna was busy with remote school, but everything was remote.
Everything was remote.
And all of my articles were getting rejected from newspapers. Right. So I hit a dead end, and thank God I hit that dead end. Otherwise, I wouldn't look for other. So I decided, it was time for something else. That so during the pandemic, I spent 8 months working with Dr. Kabat on
Tell us, who is
Yeah.
Dr. Kabat? How did you meet him? And tell us something about Dr. Kabat. How did he end up becoming your lifelong mentor?
Yeah, so it all starts when you took me back to Dr. Kabat's Physics 1 course at
2012.
Lehman College.
2012.
That's right.
Same year Shubham was born.
That's right. No,
Yeah.
that's right.
2000. So I was taking Dr. Kabat class
That's right.
before Shubham was born,
That's right.
and I had to take few days off because Shubham, because I had to go to hospital.
That's right. And I think your lab instructor for Dr. Kabat's course, I met him a few days ago.
Yeah. And what's his name?
I don't remember. Avinash? No, I don't.
Yeah, Indian.
Indian.
He's from IIT.
IIT, yeah.
IIT Delhi or somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
He was giving a black hole seminar, and Dr. Kabat was in the room, and it
That's
was my last day of city
That's right.
college.
That's right.
Yeah.
I took you Dr. Kabat class and
That's
his class
right.
as well. Yeah.
That's right. So Dr. Kabat's class, even though I didn't have any physics background, then that gave me the seeds of inspiration to kind of continue learning about physics. And I still remember writing Maxwell's equations on his board.
Right.
At that time, obviously, I memorized Maxwell's equations.
Yes. To impress him.
To impress Dr.
Yes.
Kabat. And,
Yes, absolutely.
And
that's why that's important. That's kind of you build your confidence.
Absolutely.
And you expose yourself to important things.
That's right. Yeah.
And that also increases your expectation from yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you met Dr. Kabat in 2012 and now 2024.
12 years, yeah.
It's more than a decade.
More than a decade. So he's known me since I was 8 years old or 10 years old.
Yeah, you were about
9 years old. 21 minus 12. So 9 years old.
Yeah, you were 9 years old. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And ever since then, he has always he's been like a family member.
Yeah, absolutely. For
the last 12 years.
So during the pandemic, you reached out to him.
That's right.
To help you with the research paper.
That's right.
And then what happened?
And so I proposed to Dr. Kabat to work on a research paper on electromagnetism and special relativity. And Dr. Kabat mentored me through 8 months of teaching myself Einstein's special relativity, which is much easier than general relativity, and electromagnetism. So Dr. Kabat would answer my questions, and he would, if I had any problems understanding a concept, he would answer everything. And at the end of that 8 months, I had a paper. And I thought that paper, I submitted that paper to many journals, and unfortunately, it didn't get accepted anywhere. It was rejected. And
at some point, you wanted to give up.
Yeah, and I thought,
Dr. Kabat.
If I can't make it with the help of Dr. Kabat, then what point is there, going it alone?
And he told you not to.
Yeah, Dr. Kabat
told you that every change they ask you to make, make them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although sometimes they take lots of time.
Yeah.
So what is the learning opportunity here for folks who wants to be researchers?
Never give up, and that, of course, that's an advice everyone says, but in research it's especially important because
it's very painful.
Because it's like being in a maze but you don't have a flashlight. Right. Because you don't know what the next step is. Do you have to turn left, turn right, go straight? You don't know which way will work. That's the point. That's why it's research, because no one has done it before. So you're the first person on the frontier. You have to try out all the possible ways. Right. As Thomas Edison said, there's 999 ways to fail, but only one way to succeed. So you have to try everything.
And most of the time, the editors ask you to change this, change that, change this, and that would be a very painstaking.
Absolutely.
Especially, it takes lots of time to make those changes. And sometimes you think that they are not necessary.
Absolutely,
yeah. But
you might disagree with the editor. Absolutely. But if you disagree, then it won't get published. So better not to disagree.
Yeah. So comply.
Comply.
And then it will pay off in a big way.
That's right.
That's why one research paper, how long usually it takes?
2 years minimum.
2 years minimum.
Yep.
Sometimes it can. Some research paper you're still waiting, right?
More than
2-3 years, right?
It's approaching 3 years.
Approaching 3 years. So,
but minimum 2 years.
Yeah, research paper is really takes a long time.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us, yeah.
So the senior year of Brooklyn
Brooklyn
Tech,
Tech.
I was home alone most of the time. None of my newspaper articles was getting
Transition already
accepted.
happened. You
Right.
moved from Bronx to Long Island.
Long Island, and so I was basically bored, and I didn't have much to do because my newspaper articles was getting rejected. Remote school was not a very interesting school, and so every night I want to sleep watching YouTube, whatever. And one night there was a YouTube video recommended to me, and I clicked on the video. I thought I'd watch it for 30 seconds,
Right.
whatever. It's a YouTube video, middle of the night, and the title of the video was "The Biggest Ideas in the Universe: The Action Principle" by Sean Carroll.
Ah,
And
okay.
I didn't know who Sean
Sean
Carroll
Carroll
was
was.
at that time, and I didn't know what the action principle was.
I see.
But I started watching the video, and it was like something somebody hit me in the head with a hammer.
Oh.
That's the only way I can describe it, because 2 days before, I had a teacher in Brooklyn Tech called Miss Bari,
Right.
and in her
Your
class,
math teacher.
my multivariable calculus teacher, and in her class we talked about curvature.
Right.
How do you describe an object that is curved,
Right.
like a bowling ball
Absolutely.
or a cereal bowl?
3D in a 3D space.
That's right. And one day after that class, I had watched MoMath. MoMath is a museum of math.
Your mom used to go there.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I watched their seminar on how light bends in curved spaces.
Right.
And then when I was watching Sean Carroll's video, he was saying how he was talking about how light moves in curved spaces, and he was explaining it in a way that I can only say was religious.
That's
I
right.
mean, the way he was explaining the action principle, it sounded like something I could not believe.
As if light has a brain.
As if light has a brain. And the first thing I thought about when he was explaining that was, why didn't any of my teachers say this?
And also, why the light doesn't take the
Yeah.
shortest path?
That's right.
Yeah.
So I thought I had found a hidden secret.
I always also thought that light always takes the shortest path, because
That's right.
that's we do.
That's right. So I thought I had stumbled on a hidden secret. Nobody, maybe this was a secret that not many
That's
people
right.
know.
So you're
So-
thinking that hey,
so-
there's a chance to become next Einstein.
Yeah, I thought that this is a chance to find out more about this secret. That's
Right.
really how I saw it, as a secret. And so I didn't have any expectations of getting a paper out, because in fact I didn't contact Dr. Kaban because I didn't want to bother him anymore, because he had mentored me for 8 months and the paper didn't get accepted. So I thought, this is not going to get published. This is I have nothing to do, so why not spend my time creating simulations of the action principle?
Right. Absolutely.
So I started creating simulations, and I think I spent 3 days creating Python simulations of the action principle. By the way, the action principle says that light has a brain. It has a GPS that tells us what is the shortest time path.
Absolutely. And that is shortest time. Yeah, it's shortest time is not always the shortest path.
That's right. And for example, if you're traveling on the highway, everyone wants to go the shortest path,
Absolutely.
because everyone sees that on the GPS.
Absolutely.
But the shortest time might be a circular path.
Circular path.
Yeah.
The path that has less traffic.
That's right.
If that makes sense.
Right. As Robert Frost said, 2 roads, which one do you take? Not always the one that's the least distance.
No,
That's
because
right.
least distance one man.
Be
And
crowded.
be more crowded.
Yeah. So I started making simulations for 3 nights,
Okay.
and then on the 3rd night I thought I can make the simulation a little bit better. So I'm just gonna fix this. I'm just gonna add one more simulation of the light traveling between 2 points.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe that would take me 1 hour. Turns out it took me 2 more days. And then after 2 more days, I thought, okay, I came this far. I can make the simulation a little bit better. I can add another refractive index to the simulation. And then after that took another 2 days. And then I had nothing to do. So I thought, okay, I'm going to make it better and better and better, like a painting. So at some point, obviously, that has to end. And so after about 3 months of creating the simulations, I thought, I never thought I would have that kind of a work of a
Right.
project.
Right.
So I thought, okay, I'll submit it to a journal. I had zero expectations
Right.
of any kind of publication,
Right.
but I thought I would submit
And
it.
also, Maria Mirzakhani, you also got inspired by her
That's
paper.
right. Her billiards paper.
Billiards
Yeah,
paper.
that was actually for my second publication. Yeah.
Second publication.
Yeah.
All right.
So this paper I had no expectation of any positive response, and so I submitted it to the journal. And back then I had no idea how a journal system works. So
Right.
I thought it was like a newspaper editorial. They would give me the response in one
Right
day.
away. Yes.
And so I waited one day. I thought, okay, maybe they have a few papers to read. So I waited 2 days. Then I was getting concerned. I mean, they're not responding to my submission.
Yeah.
I waited 1 week, and then I wrote to the editor. I submitted a paper 1 week ago.
They accepted a rejection.
Yeah, and she said, "Dear Mr. Barry, thank you for your submission to the physics teacher. Peer review process usually takes 3 to 4 months." And I was shocked. I didn't know what to say or what to do.
Yeah.
So
that was a learning experience for you.
That was a shock.
But you started working on another paper.
And yeah, that's right. So while that was under peer review, I thought, okay, this is done. And so soon after, I actually completed Brooklyn Tech. I graduated from Brooklyn Tech.
Tell me about your best experience, because Brooklyn Tech, you spent 4 years, 2 years in person, 2 years online. Tell me some of the experience you had at Brooklyn Tech.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely the best experiences are the in-person experiences. Nothing can beat.
As a freshman and as a sophomore.
Right. And I think really one moment I still remember is 11th grade. I was just accepted as captain of the math team because I got the highest scores on all the math competitions.
You always wanted to be the captain.
That's right. I always wanted to be the captain. And so I became the captain. And so I was sitting on the captain's chair and all of that. And I always had one competitor. His name was Jacob.
Yeah,
and
Jacob.
He was your
student was my student
in
physics.
Physics. And Jacob always, he
was good in chess.
He was good at chess and math competitions, and he always played with me. He said, so he always whenever we had a math question, he would always get it right. I would always get it wrong until that point. So there was a math competition question given to us by our teacher, Dr. Blosey, and Jacob put down one answer, like 37, and I put down a different answer, 135. And we submitted our answers. And I turned around to Jacob and I said, "What did you put?" And he said 37. And he said, "What did you put?" I said 135. And he said, "No way, you're going to be right. I mean, I've been right every single time. So why bother?" And then the results came back for that problem. And I was the only one
who got it right
in the entire team.
Even not Stanley made it.
Not even Stanley got it right. In the entire team, I was the only one who got it right. And Dr. Blosey asked the class to clap for me. Yeah.
Wow.
And
you must have been very proud.
Well, I didn't look at the class. I was looking at Jacob. and he was like stunned. He was he was in shock.
Yeah.
And I think he said "good job" or something after the clapping was done. So that's one of the best memories.
Memory that is standing out right now.
Yeah.
Any teacher that particularly influenced you?
Yeah, I had a lot of great teachers at Brooklyn Tech. Maybe my multivariable calculus teacher, Ms. Bari. She was very good, and she helped me.
What about one of the chemistry teacher you always talk about, Dr.
Miss Rivera?
Oh yeah, Miss Rivera, your reasons chemistry teacher. Was that your chemistry lab teacher?
Oh, Dr. Maxfield.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was my chemistry lab teacher for the regions, and he was he was always, he had so much reputation. In fact, he worked on I think a Nobel Prize winning team. And he was so well regarded in his field, but he was so humble.
Very humble, very down to earth.
It was like
Absolutely, very down
it
to
was
earth.
like you were the teacher and he was the student when he
Absolutely,
was talking with you.
absolutely, yeah.
And I remember one day in Regent's chemistry lab, by the way, I had no idea what I was doing in the labs, but he came up to my lab station and he said, if you guys have any questions, just ask Rafat. He has all the answers. He should be the lab teacher, not me. And so
That's how much confidence he had on you.
yeah, yeah.
And he gifted you a very nice
Oh,
lab gown.
and he took me into the Westinghouse program, and he gave me the lab gown that I wore into the Morales lab on my first day
Right.
of working at the Carlos Morales lab.
Anything you want to add before we move to your college? What was your best experience, or maybe one of the many experience you had at Brooklyn Tech?
Yeah, I had a lot of. I guess my best experiences at Brooklyn Tech revolve around the math competition.
Math competition.
That's
Absolutely. That was the source of fun.
That's where
And you lost that source of fun during the COVID time.
As soon as that's right.
Yeah, I mean that 2 years you missed a lot.
Well, but I replaced it with something else. You always have to find something.
Yeah, so
to replace.
that was the time
Absolutely.
you made a transition from math to physics.
Absolutely. If I didn't, discover Sean Carroll's video by mistake, then that was really at the moment that I discovered his video. I thought I have to find out what this is.
Yes.
I have to find out what this is.
Absolutely.
Now, 4 or 5 years later, I can tell you that I know what it is.
Absolutely.
So,
tell us about your high school graduation.
So I graduated in June of 2021
from one of the best high school in the world.
That's right. The largest high school in the United States.
In the United States, yes,
6,000 students.
Which is the top high school in the world.
That's right.
In the US.
And I had a great experience at Brooklyn Tech. And we were the first class to graduate after the pandemic.
Yeah, first class. Yeah,
very lucky.
In person.
Very lucky.
First in-person graduation after the pandemic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Actually, after our graduation, the next year's graduation speaker was Bill Clinton, President Bill Clinton. Absolutely. Very, very lucky. So that tells you how big of a school it is.
Yeah, absolutely. When President Clinton is here.
Yeah.
During the senior year, staying at home, of course, busy writing research paper, also busy applying to different colleges.
That's right.
Right? Because you were about to graduate from Brooklyn Tech in the United States. You apply. You need to know, folks who are international students, there are a few things called early action, early decision. Early action, early decision. The deadline is November 1. You have to apply by November 1, right? And the regular decision, you have to apply before Christmas. But some university give you a little bit more time. But let's say before Christmas. So you will start applying to colleges. Tell us about that, and also tell us your SAT score, your ACT score, and everything else that you have to do to make yourself a best candidate for the college you applied.
Absolutely. So in the United States, colleges look for well-rounded applicants. So I tried to be involved in as many extracurriculars as possible.
At Brooklyn Tech, you were a part of the folks who were publishing the newspaper.
That's right. That's right.
Survey.
That's right. The newspaper. Yeah, yes. I have a lot of fond memories of the newspaper.
You always wanted to become an editor. That didn't happen.
That's right. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. But that's why I got into physics, because that route was not successful. Okay. So I was in the newspaper team. I was in the chess team. I was in the math team. Yes. I published 55 Days in Dharavi.
Published 2 papers.
Well, no, not at that time.
Not at that time, but you started.
At that time, I had my work with Dr. Kabai, which was not published, but it was something to show the admissions committee.
So early action, which was your early action? Oh no, you didn't choose early action, early decision.
No, I didn't.
Why?
Mostly because I started my applications late. So all the applications are
overconfidence.
Overconfidence, which is why I started it late.
Overconfidence meaning that you probably were thinking that every university, what am I going to do when the Harvard and the Princeton both don't accept me?
That's right. Yeah, right? Yeah, that's a great problem to have, but unfortunately, it was not a problem I had when I received the acceptance.
Okay, how many colleges did you apply to?
21.
including all Ivy Leagues,
including all Ivy Leagues,
including Brown.
including Brown. That's right.
And how many accepted you
Well,
out of 21?
out of those 21, zero.
Zero.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
right.
zero success, right?
Yeah.
Did you did you bounce back?
Yeah, absolutely. Then I applied to CUNY, the City University of New
You
York.
did not give up.
I did not give up,
Right.
and ultimately I chose the City
So
College
why
of
did
New
you
York.
choose City College? Although you got accepted at many universities,
That's
including
right.
Buffalo University,
Buffalo,
and then
Adelphi.
Adelphi, okay.
That's right.
But you choose the City College of New York. What's
Right.
that?
Well, I stepped foot on the City College campus a decade before I got accepted, and that's when you brought me to Professor Michikaku's course on Introduction to Astronomy. That was what planted the seed for me to even think about physics in the first place. And I remember back then we were, of course, very poor. We didn't have any money, but whenever we went to Barnes and Nobles, I would try to buy as many astronomy books as I could, as we could afford. So that's why I chose the City College of New York, because Professor Michio was still teaching there. And in fact, I took his course exactly, I think 12 years,
Yes,
11 years after I took his
So you
course.
took his class as a child, and you took his class as an adult.
That's right, as an 8-year-old and as a 21-year-old.
Okay.
So,
Right.
13
So
years.
tell us your best experience at City College, because you spent 3 years, not
Yeah.
4 years. You spent 3 years to complete your graduation in physics at City College, and you graduated
Absolutely.
with almost 4 GPA,
Absolutely.
published 2 papers.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
won the Michikaku scholarship.
Yep.
You got
Yeah.
accepted at Brown as a City College student.
Yep. Oh, and UC Berkeley.
And UC Berkeley.
That's right.
And NYU Abu
That's
Dhabi.
right. That's
And
right.
NYU Abu Dhabi in a PhD program.
That's right.
Okay, good. So City College really it gave you a lot of things.
That's right. It's the Harvard for the poor, as the saying goes. So
Right.
you get an Ivy League education for a very low cost.
For the price
Yeah.
of, and Lil Nas is kind, as you always
Oh.
like to see.
Oh,
As I always like to say that Lil
That's
Nas is
right.
kind. You.
that's
One
right.
of your heroes
That's right.
went to CCNY.
The City College has a very distinguished physics department. So a few of the alumni include Leonard Susskind, huge today's Einstein.
He's like
Today's, that's the only way I can describe him. The discoverer of the cosmic microwave background radiation.
Penzias.
Arnold Penzias, winner of the
that's
Nobel
right.
Prize in Physics.
Penzias,
And-
Penzias also went to Brooklyn Tech.
That's
Yes,
right.
That's right. Yeah.
That's right. Leon Letterman, who
Yes.
also won the Nobel Prize in Physics
Yes, absolutely.
for discovering neutrinos,
Yes.
and Robert Hofstadter, who also won the Nobel Prize in Physics, also City College alumni. Julian Schwinger, who won the Nobel Prize in Physics with Feynman for discovering quantum electrodynamics. He was so good at City College that Columbia took him out involuntarily.
I see.
Columbia created a new scholarship that did not exist before, and they used that scholarship to post Julian Schwinger out of City College of New York and into Columbia.
I see. Wow.
And so those are some of the most well-known physicists from City College.
Excellent. So, tell me some life. Tell me your most favorite teacher that changes your life in City College.
So of course,
Of course,
yeah,
Michikaku.
started the journey.
You talk a lot about Michikaku.
Yeah.
Beside Michikaku.
I had, this is hard to believe, and this might not sound true, but every single physics professor I had at City College was better than an Ivy League professor, believe it or not. So
you have to wait like 2 more years to say that.
Well, yeah, that's
now
right.
you just
That's right.
you're gonna have Ivy League experience.
Now I will
from like next week.
That's right.
Yeah. So.
So I'm gonna name each of them by name. Puyan Gayami, Physics 1 professor.
Yeah.
And Professor Mark Shattuck, Classical Mechanics professor.
Yes.
Professor Timothy Boyer, my Electromagnetism 1 and 2 professor.
Right.
Professor Joel Koplik, Thermodynamics professor. And Seth Cottrell, my quantum computing professor.
Oh, yes.
And so those 5 people
change your life,
were
especially
great.
especially Boyer.
Especially Professor Boyer. So I have to spend some time talking about Professor
Yes,
Boyer.
EM1 and EM2, you
That's
did not
right.
do well.
That's right. Especially EM1.
But he believed in you.
That's right. So so Professor Boyer gives 5 exams during the
In class.
in person during the quarter, and so the first exam I did well. I got 93, and I thought the rest of the exams would be as easy. And so the second exam I got 66. The third exam I got a 66. The fourth exam I got a 66. And the final I got a 66. So this doesn't sound true, but by the time the final came around, I hated the number 66 so much
Because
I had a dream. I had a nightmare that Professor
every test I'll take, I will get
That's right.
66.
And I thought at some point that Professor Boyer was intentionally giving out the points so that the number came out to 66. But when I reviewed the test, it checked out. I did get 66.
But he believed in you.
In all of them.
He said, Mr. Bari, look.
Yeah. And so I went up to him and I said, Professor Boyer, I'm applying for my PhD in December of next year, and I just can't. My dream is to get a PhD in physics from an Ivy League. Hello, folks. This is my brown mom. Not only is she going to brown.
Here's the ID.
Here, I look like an Ivy League person, right?
Because you are.
Student, ma.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see they kind of pasted over the CCNY validation guy.